everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel She Coding. Today I have come up with a new concept that is C++. That is for SAP syllabus, University of Mysore. So according to the lab cycle, I'll be starting from the part B programs. So in part B, the first program is to demonstrate call by value and call by reference. Call by value is the method. A copy of the actual argument is passed to the function. Okay, so any modifications made to that argument inside the function, it do not affect the original variable. Okay, but when it comes to the call by reference, any modifications that is done will obviously directly affects the or directly access to the original variable. Let's get started with the program. First, we need to include iostream.h using hashtag and then conio.h using hashtag. So next, I will be declaring void call by value. Int a will be my parameter. Then void call by reference. Int ampersand b will be my parameter. I'll tell you why have I used ampersand. Actually, ampersand is a reference operator in C++. Okay. So yeah, why have I used? I will be further explain you in detail. Next is the main method. So always the execution starts from this main method. Okay. Next, I'll clear the screen first. After clearing the screen, I'll initialize x is equal to 10 and int y is equal to 10. So x and y both are integer type value. Okay, instead of 10, I'll give it as 20. So both are integer values. Next, I'll just print before call by value, what was my value of x. Okay, x, I'll end the line. Next, I will call by value of x. I'm calling the x function here. Fine. Now again I'll print. Cout is a printing function. After call by value, what will be my x? Then same I'll copy paste to y. I'll just change call by value to call by reference. Okay. Then I'll end my main method here by closing the bracket and using get. Now I'll be declaring call by value again to int a is equal to a plus 10 or just 10. Next, void call by reference int ampersand b. B is equal to b plus 10. I'll just save it and press Ctrl F9 to run. Okay, so here before call by value, my x value was 10. After call by value, also my x value is 10. But when it comes to reference, before call by reference, my y value was 20. After call by reference, my y value is 30. So I'll now explain why it has changed, because as per the definition like call by value and call by reference, whatever the variable I've used outside the function, that is main function, I've used a here. A is a call by value. So here my x value is 10. I have changed my a value to 10. Okay, even if I had changed my a value to 50, there would be no difference. See, even if I change my a value to 50, there is no difference from before and after call by value. Okay, but here my y value has changed to 30. Okay, so this is because I have used the reference operator, that is ampersand. Reference will always affect the or always access the original variable. It will modify and access the original variable. So this is the meaning of call by reference. That is why there will be a changes in before and after y value in the call by reference. Got it? The second program I'm executing in code blocks. The previous program I had executed in Turbo C++. So there is slight difference in coding in Turbo C++ and coding in code blocks. Okay, so I will be teaching in code blocks. The second question which I'm executing is to find the factorial using recursion. Okay, after adding these header files like iostream, iomanip and conio.h header stream, we need to use int factorial. Int n as a parameter is passed inside it. Okay, inside this I will be giving a condition. If my n value is lesser than or equal to 1, okay, is lesser than or equal to 1, then return 1. Okay, so else if it is not less or equal to 1, then return n into factorial, that is the method of n minus 1. Okay, this is my statement this is my condition inside the int factorial. So as I said in the Turbo C++, always the program execution starts after main method. So inside the main method, I will be initializing int number, okay, and storing it in an integer type. Next, std standard of cout. I'm asking the user to enter the number. Taking the input, we use sin. So for sin also, we should use the standard double colon number. Fine. Then my new variable is result. Inside the result, I will be storing the factorial of number. Okay. So the factorial of number is stored inside the result, and then I will be printing the result here. Then get. So here the program ends. I'll save it and I'll click on this green play button to run. Yeah. So here it is asking me to enter the number. So I'll enter the random number, that is 5, and press enter. So my output is factorial of 5 is 120. The next program is to create a class for representing student details with appropriate member function to accept and to display the details. So first let me include the header files. The first is IOStream header file, and then is the Conio header file. Okay, and then I will use this namespace std. This line tells the compiler to use the standard library functions. So what it will do, this will allow us to use the functions like cout and cin without prefixing them with std double colon. Now I will create a class called student. They have asked me to create a class called student. So inside the class, private class has three data members, that is name, which is in the form of character, and roll number, that is in the form of integer, and then the marks, that is in the form of float. Okay, this is my private class members. Coming to the public class members, they have asked me to accept details and display details of the student. Okay, so I will be creating two methods. One is for accepting details. Okay, inside accepting details, I'll ask user to enter the student name. Okay, this is the statement in order to ask the user to enter their respective names. Okay, then I'll store it in the name. Next, I have created for both roll number and marks. This is my accept method. Okay, now I will create one more function, that is display. Okay, to display the details. Print it in a next line. So I will use /n student details NL. Next, again cout for the name, cout for the roll number, and cout for the marks. Okay, so I have written the statement for all the details, that is name, roll number, and marks. I will open the main method. Inside the main method, I will be creating the object for the student class, that is student S. Okay, this is the object name and this is the class name. So now using that object name, I will call the function accept, and one more function is display. So I will call both the function using that object name. When after calling, I'll use get, and I'll return the statement as I've used int main. Void will not return any value, but int returns a value. So I'll just initially I'll give it as 0. Okay, then I'll save it and run. So it is asking me for the student name. I'll just simply give ABC, asking for roll number 1, 2, 3, and the marks 95. So here my student details is being printed. The name is ABC, which I've given here, and the roll number is 1, 2, 3, and marks is 95. The next program is to demonstrate the function overloading. Okay, I hope you all know what is function overloading. You have learned in the theory class. If not, let me tell you in simple words. So function overloading is a feature in programming where multiple functions with same name can be defined but different parameter list. Suppose I have one function called add with a comma b. Okay, these are the parameters. There should be a data type in the parameter. For example, I'm showing you this. And then I have one more function called add with different parameters. Okay, it can differ in number of parameters or the type of a parameter, like data type. Let's demonstrate the program. The first thing, we need to use the header files. Next, I will use the function to add two integers. Okay, add two integers. I will be writing the function here, int add. int a, comma, int b are the parameters in my first function, written a plus b. So I should get the sum of a and b. The second function is int add. Okay, in this function I will pass three parameters, int a, int b, int c. Okay, these are the three parameters I'm passing in this function. Inside this I will return the sum of a, b and c. In my third function I will use float. Instead of int I will use float, add, same function name, float a, float b. Okay, these are my parameters. So inside this function I will return a plus b. Okay, my three functions are ready. Inside main method, that is int main, I'll initialize the variables as for example the first two are my integer values, so I'll just give int result. Okay, this is my first variable, I'm declaring it, and second variable is the float, so I'll give f result, that is floating result. Okay, then I'll demonstrate the integer addition now, that is int result is equal to add 10, 20. So what are the parameters I have passed here? A and b. So I am giving the value inside this function. Next, now I am demonstrating the floating result, that is f result is equal to add, floating numbers will be 10 plus 10.5. This is my input value. I'll be printing the floating number. So in this I will use int result is equal to add 10, 20, 30, a, b, c values. Okay, and now I'll be printing the same, and now I'll just simply type cout endl, return 0. Cout endl to conclude the program, and I'm returning 0. So my sum is sum of a and b. What was my input? My input was 10 and 20. So here I have 30, correct. Then floating point is 10.5, 13.3. So 10 plus 13 is 23, 5 plus 3 is 8. So 23.8, correct. Next, what was my input? 10, 20 and 30. 10, 20, 30 is equal to 60. The next program is to demonstrate the friend function. A friend function is a non-member function that has access to the private and protected members of a class. Okay, like its characteristics are, it will be declared inside the class with the friend keyword. So let us get into the program. The first two lines is common, header file and the namespace. I'll create a class called box. Inside the private class, I have three members. Next is the public. Inside the public class, I'll be defining the constructor box that initializes the data members using an initialization list. Okay, so this constructor defines the box that initializes the data members using an initialization list. Those are the initialization list. I will have the function called friend void display box b. So I'm declaring a friend function, that is display, that can access the private data members. Void display box b. So box b is nothing but, box is a class name, b is a object. Float volume is my new variable, is equal to, b is the object name. Using that object I will be accessing the length into b dot width into b dot height, and then I'll be printing. Then I'll open the main method. Inside the main method, box, my box. So here I will create a object of box with my box object name with the dimension 5.0, 3.0 and 2.0. My function, that is display. Inside display, I'll display the object name. Okay, then I'll return 0. Save it and run. So what is my answer? Volume of the box is 30 in cubic units. How? 5.0, 3.0, 2.0. What is the formula should I use? I used length into width into height. So 5 3s are 15, 15 2s are 30. So 30 is my output. The next program is to demonstrate the single inheritance. So what is single inheritance? In simple words, one parent class, one child class. So one single child class will inherit its property from one parent class, is known as single inheritance. So the first line is the header file, that is hashtag include agostream, then using namespace std. Now my base class will be the shape. Okay, inside this I have my protected class int width comma height are my variables. Inside same class shape, I have my public class. I will use the class name int w comma int h, width of w comma height of h. So this is a constructor to initialize the width and the height. So next is the method I'm using, that is void display. Inside this void display, I will be printing cout width, then the height. I close my function, then the class. So after the class is closed, now I need to create the derived class from this shape. So from this class shape, I have to derive a class, child class. Okay, my child class name will be class rectangle, colon public shape. Okay, so derived class rectangle is inheriting from this shape class. Rectangle int w comma int h colon shape of w comma h. So this is a constructor of rectangle. Next, I have the void display area function. Inside this function, new variable, that is area, will be equal to the width into height. So the formula of area is width into height. Then I'll print the area. So the child class ends here. Now my main method. Inside the main method, I will create a rectangle object with width 10 and height 5. Using that object name, I will be calling the function display, and second function is display area. Okay, I'll be calling both the function using that particular object, and I'll return the 0. This 10 and height is 5. The area of rectangle is 50. So now we will demonstrate the multi-level inheritance. So in this, I'll add one more header file, that is string header file. So my first class will be, that means parent class will be the person. Okay, this is my first class. Inside this class, inside the protected, I will have string name. Okay, then age of the person in the form of int. Next is the public class. Here we have the function to get the personal detail from the users. Okay, so to get the details from the users, I will be using void get details. Okay, this is my function. Inside that, cout enter name, in name, cout enter age, in age. Okay, then I have one more function to display that detail. So show detail. Okay, in this show details, cout is name will be printed. Okay, then cout age. Okay, so this is to get the output of the given input. From the person class, I will be deriving the student class. Okay, class student colon public person. Okay, this means that the class to represent the student inheriting from this person. I have the protected int student ID, then public. Even here, I will use two functions to get student details and to show the student details. Get student details. Inside this, I'll print the get details. Okay, so this get details will display the personal details from the person class. I will ask student to enter the student ID. My input will be student ID. The next function is to show the student details. Ask to show details of the person and then to print the student ID. This will give the output of the student ID. Then from this student class, I will derive one more class. So now the student class will act as the parent class to its next child class. So class exam will be my next child class and public will be my student class. Private class will be int marks. So this is the marks obtained in the exam. Public void get exam details or get exam. So in order to print the details of student, I need to call the function get details, get student details. Okay. After calling, I will be taking the input from the student, that is marks. The second function is void show details. So show exam. Inside this, I'll ask it to show the details of student and then print the marks of that particular student. This class main function. Inside the main function, I'll create the object for lastly created child class. The lastly created child class is my exam. So my object will be created on the lastly created child class. I'll use E. So using that object name, I will call the get exam function and then show exam and then return 0. Now I'll print it. So it is asking me to enter the name. So what is the name? Anything you wish to give. ABC. Okay. My age is 20. Student ID 123. Marks is 95. So I've got my details. That is, name is ABC, age is 20, student ID is 123, marks obtained is 95. So next is to demonstrate the operator overloading. So operator overloading, it is a feature in C++ that will allow the developers to redefine the behavior of operators when working with the user-defined data types. Like for example, it may be a classes or the structures. Okay, so there are so many types of operator overloading. It may be unary, binary, assignment operator, comparison operator, logical, bitwise, etc. So these are the few operators overloading. So next I will be creating a class called complex. Inside this class, I will have my private class, that is real in the form of float and imaginary. Okay, these are the two members inside the private class. Then public, I have the constructor here, that is complex class name, along with that float r comma float I is equal to 0. I'll be initializing it to 0. Colon real will be r. Real is referred as r, comma imaginary is referred as I. Fine. This is a constructor. Next, I will be using the addition operator to be overloaded. Okay, so I am overloading the plus operator, that is complex operator plus constant complex ampersand other. What am I doing here is the other is the one more object. Okay, I have taken the another complex object, that is other, as a constant reference. Okay, returning the complex of real plus other dot real. Okay, and then imaginary plus other dot imaginary. So other is nothing but an object, a new object. Okay, I'm creating a function called display constant cout real number. So this will be printed. Then I'm using the main method. I create the complex number, that is complex of 3.5 comma 2.5, it's just random number, comma C2 is 1.4 comma 4.5. Cout the first complex number C1 dot display function, so to display the first complex number. Okay, next is the second complex number. I'll just copy paste it. Next, I will be adding both the complex numbers. Complex 3 C3 is equal to C1 plus C2, and then Cout display sum of complex numbers. I'll return 0 and run. So I've got the output. The next program is to demonstrate the usage of default and parameterized constructor. Before getting into the program, let us know what is default constructor and parameterized constructor. So default constructor means it has no parameters, okay, and it is called when an object is created without passing any arguments and initializes the objects with default values, okay. So but when it comes to the parameterized constructor, it will have one or more parameters. So parameterized constructor, it will have one or more parameters called when an object is created with arguments and then initializes objects with specific values. Okay, so this is the difference between the default and parameterized constructor. Class rectangle. Okay, rectangle is my class. Private int width and int height. Okay, so inside the public, my default constructor will be rectangle method. Inside that, width will be 0 and height will be 0. Okay, so see out, I'll be printing the default constructor called endl. Okay, so this is my default constructor. When it comes to parameterized constructor, I'll call the same class. I'll call the same class with parameter, that is int w comma int h. Okay, inside this width will be equal to w and height will be equal to h. See out, parameterized constructor called endl. Next, I have a function to display the dimensions of the rectangle. So in order to display the dimensions of rectangle, I will be using void display constant, void display constant. See out, width is equal to width. Okay, and height is equal to height. Okay, so next is the function to calculate area of the rectangle. Width into height. Okay, here my class ends. Then now the main method. Inside the main method, I will create a rectangle object. Rect. Okay, so this is my object, so I'll create it as rect1 as I have default constructor as well as parameterized constructor. This is my rect1. This is for default constructor. See out, area of rect1 is equal to, using this object, I'll be calling the area function. Okay, then I'm creating object for parameterized rectangle rect2. Okay, next see out, area of rect2 is equal to rect2 dot area function and semicolon. Then get return 0. Save and run. Yeah, so my output as default constructor is called area of rect1 is 0. My parameterized constructor is also called the area of rect is 200.
That's it for this video, guys. Hope you've all found this video helpful. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel She Coding. Code with confidence. Until next time, see you. Bye bye. Take care.